Hi guys, this is the story of Anna in the hospital. The silent ward. It was a stormy night when Anna, a young nurse, was assigned to cover an overnight shift at St. Mary's Hospital. The hospital, once bustling with life, had seen better days. Budget cuts had forced the closure of certain wings, leaving parts of the building dark and abandoned. Her task was to oversee Ward 6, a section rarely used, tucked away at the end of the hospital's longest corridor. When Anna arrived, she noticed the eerie stillness of Ward 6. The fluorescent lights flickered faintly, casting distorted shadows on the pale green walls. There were only 3 patients on the ward: an elderly woman recovering from surgery, a middle-aged man with a fractured leg, and a young boy who hadn't spoken since he'd been admitted. As the hours crept by, strange things began to happen. At first, it was small. Anna heard faint whispers when she passed the empty rooms, but when she stopped to listen, there was only silence. Then came the sound of footsteps echoing through the hallway, but no one was there. Around midnight, the boy, who had been silent all day, suddenly sat up in bed. His wide, unblinking eyes stared into the corner of the room. "Who are you talking to, sweetie?" Anna asked, forcing a smile. "The man by the door," he whispered. Anna turned quickly, but there was no one there. "It's just us," she said, trying to reassure him. But the boy didn't respond. He simply laid back down, his gaze still fixed on the door. The tension grew thicker. At 2 a.m., the elderly woman began screaming, clutching her chest and gasping for air. When Anna rushed to her side, the woman grabbed her wrist with surprising strength. "Don't let it take me," she begged, her eyes wide with terror. "Let what take you?" Anna asked, but the woman only shook her head and whispered, "The shadow." Later, as Anna walked down the corridor to check the monitors, she saw it, a tall, thin shadow moving against the wall. But there was no one casting it. It slithered unnaturally, gliding from one room to another. Terrified, Anna ran to the security office to check the cameras. On the monitor, she saw herself, sitting at the nurse's station, but behind her, the shadow loomed, stretching taller and darker. It seemed to seep into her reflection, its spindly arms reaching out. A cold breeze swept through the ward, and the lights flickered violently before plunging into darkness. The patient's cries echoed around her. When the lights came back on, Anna found herself alone in the ward. The beds were empty, the monitors beeped, but there were no signs of the patients or their belongings. She tried calling for help, but her radio only emitted static. As she backed away from the nurse's station, her foot hit something soft. Looking down, she saw the boy's teddy bear soaked in blood. Behind her, a low growl reverberated through the hall. Turning slowly, she saw it. The shadow, now fully formed into a grotesque figure. Its face was a void, but its eyes burned red with malice. It lunged toward her, and she screamed as the darkness swallowed her whole. The next morning, Ward 6 was empty. Anna was never found, and her name became just another mystery tied to St. Mary's. They say if you walk past the ward on a quiet night, you can still hear her screams and see the shadow waiting for its next victim.